Hey everybody, this is Dust for Dusted on Gaming with episode 5, match number 3 with Arclight Phoenix decks here in Modern. Doing the Izzet variety again, once again. Want to thank everybody for helping the channel grow. We're up to almost 500 subscribers. Keep pushing on, guys. We're trying to get to 1,000 so we can get monetized, so I can help continue to grow the channel. And as always, don't forget, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up and a constructive comment down below. So, getting ready for match number 3. We've played a couple things in the practice rooms. I think I'm going to actually try one or two more here in the practice rooms, see how they do, since we've been getting kind of relevant matchups. We played against Ad Nauseam and Elves, both of which are pretty good modern decks. So this is your standard Izzet build with Arclight Phoenix, Thing in the Ice. This particular version has a split on Pteramander and Crackling Drake, and is playing Sleight of Hand over Opt, which I think may or may not be correct. It's really kind of hard to say. One's sorcery speed, you get to look at 2 cards right away. One's instant speed allows you to kind of decide if you want the first card and then put that on bottom, and your second one's kind of a blind choice. So, some advantages and disadvantages to Sleight over Opt. 2 Surgical Extraction in the main deck, which is something that's been kind of popping up in the latest lists. Hedges against Dredge, hedges against the mirror match, allows you to pick off Arclight Phoenixes in the first game when your opponent's not expecting it. Couple copies of Gut Shot to another free spell to help trigger your stuff. Manamorphose helps get through your deck, also helps flip Thing in the Ice and Arclight Phoenix. Serum Vision, Sleight of Hand, Thought Scour, Faithless Looting, and Morphos let you get through your deck. And Bolts, Gut Shots help clean up creatures, as does Lightning Axe, and obviously Bolt and Gut Shot go to the face, and that's pretty much all you're trying to do. Quick flip of a Thing in the Ice, a quick Arclight Phoenix into play, or getting a Crackling Drake rolling to kill your opponent pretty quickly. So that's all you're doing in the main deck. Obviously there are some decks in Modern that can kind of race you, so for those, that's where you have your sideboard. A couple copies of Spell Pierce here for some of the spell-based decks, things like Burn, things like Storm, things like Control. So this can be very useful in a lot of different matchups. Pretty flexible card. Pretty cheap to use, can help protect your creatures in the early turns especially. A couple copies of Ravenous Trap for graveyard decks, anything from Storm to Dredge to Hollow One, etc. 2 copies of Abrade when you need a Shatter or a Lightning Strike effect for creatures. Shatter Storm when you need to kind of clean house against things like Whir of Invention decks or Hardened Scales. 2 copies of Blood Moon, sometimes you just need to get them. Hits the 3-color mana bases pretty hard. Also good against things like Tron, Amulet, and Titan Shift. Anger of the Gods for the go-wide creature strategies that can kind of get under you. Ral for the mid-range and controlling matchups, things like Jund, things like Control. And then 2 copies of Dragon's Claw for the burnish matchups. Burn and Mono Red Arclight Phoenix, both of which are potential issues as they can tend to interact with you just enough and then kill you. Their kills tend to be about a half turn faster. So anything that can help in those matchups is very welcome. Alright, we'll be on the play of this matchup. Main deck Surgical Extraction. Not sure how I feel about that. Keeping this hand. Obviously, in turn 1 we're going to explore Pteramander. Turn 2 Manamorphose and then see what happens. Obviously finding Phoenix or 2 in our first couple cards would be nice. Opponent debating their 7-card hand. Alright, let's go Pteramander and pass. Or we might have a slow playing opponent. Uh-oh, Spaghettios. So, ideally what we want to see is like turn 1 Pteramander, turn 2 like Sea of Phoenix, play Manamorphose in the Sleight of Hand, Faithless Looting. That lets us see 1, 2. So that lets us dig through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards to flip the piggies into play. I don't know if we want to go all in, but I mean, obviously with Pteramander, there's especially incentive to play our instants and sorceries as quickly as possible. But obviously there is some consideration to holding back with Thing in the Ice and Concealed Courtyard go. So no discard spell. Alright, Sleight of Hand's nice. Obviously do this. Now how do I split this up? Do I go red-blue or just do I go red-red? We're immediately going to draw Phoenix and hate our lives. Alright, Thing in the Ice is not terrible here. Let's see if our opponent has like a Fatal Push or something here. So no play on one at all. Some type of token strategy? I was gonna say, we're gonna get hit by a Sculler, aren't we? Which means we're probably gonna lose Thing in the Ice here. So, black-white taxes, maybe? Alright, that's a pretty good draw. So, Manamorphose. Just doing that to flip our little piggy here. And then we're not going to exile anything here, obviously. To kind of crank our opponent for 8 here. It's the third spell we've cast. So Manamorphose, Faithless Looting, Surgical. So I wish our opponent would be like, play a little bit quicker here. Dap this into a 5/5. Get back our Arclight Phoenix. Hit you for 8s here. So basically they're dead next turn if they don't draw any more interaction. In worst case scenario, we have a thing. We have a thing plus a bolt. Okay, Ghost Quarter, sure. So definitely looks like Death and Taxes, black-white Death and Taxes. It's going to be a Path to Exile. I guess they could theoretically go Arbiter plus Ghost Quarter our land. Alright, so they had the path. What's this one? Thalia? Sure. Attack with a Sculler Boy. So black-white Eldrazi, or not, may not be even Eldrazi taxes, just black-white taxes. Death and Taxes, however you want to name it. No attacks seems a little strange. Comes Arclight. So we were originally presenting turn 4 lethal for them with pretty quick Pteramander. I guess that is Eldrazi and taxes. 3 mana. Flicker Wisp. Question is, what do you target here? Timing of this is obviously annoying. If I recall correctly, this will come back, get our card back. Yeah, let's just go ahead and kill the Flicker Wisp here. They get to trade a Thing in the Ice for a Thought Scour if they so choose. And it comes back. Let's take either a Thing in the Ice or a Thought Scour. Probably takes Thought Scour, because a Thing in the Ice really isn't doing much right now. But that said, if they don't draw an answer to this decisions here. Play out the other thing. Play out Serum Visions. Leave a card on top. Basically, the opponent's dead next turn, unless they have multiple past exile, which is unlikely. Guess they could have Thought Knot Seer here. Reality Smasher would also be annoying. Alright, that's cute. Annoying. Good old Death and Taxes with their flip. Well, not quite flipping the thing yet. We are going to be giving them headaches, though. So Arclight continues to pressure their life total. So they have to answer Thing in the Ice, Lightning Bolt, and Arclight Phoenix. Not exactly the easiest thing for their deck to do. So, Thought-Knot's here. Feels like the card they were setting up last turn. Okay. Can you answer Arclight Phoenix? Alright, one card in hand. Has to be a Flicker, Whisper, a Path, or you're dead. Alright, so none of the above. Cool. So, Blood Moon. So outside of getting double red could be tricky in this matchup. Question is, how much of a controlling role do I want to take? Especially 4 mana. These surgical extractions are kind of garbo. Blood Moon's fine against them. Abrade's reasonable. Anger's in the maybe category. Does this just take out 4 Sleight of Hand? Feels like this might be a little risky. Maybe I'm going too high the curve for this matchup. Opponent is definitely taking their sweet old time playing things out, though. Anger of the Gods plus Arclight Phoenix. I think sign me up. And Crackling Drake as a follow-up, potentially. Want to make sure we crack this Scalding Tarn early on. Just to play around Leonin Arbiter. Alright, Ghost Quarter on 1, Ether Vial. It looks like turn 1 Ether Vial. It's moderately annoying. Means they could potentially get us with a Leonin Arbiter at a bad time. I still don't understand why this deck has ever been popular. I've certainly had some matchups with Burn where it gets tricky, and they do have some nice plays to it, but the deck is just... I don't want to say straight up garbage, but the deck is just like... So... Arclight Phoenix... Crackling Drake? Next turn we abrade that if they don't have like a Arbiter or a Thalia this turn. Considering that's the land they let off on, they may not have another land. In which case this is a... Okay, they do have another land. That's unfortunate. Cage, sure. So... Now they have to play Fair Magic, and their deck's not exactly the best at playing Fair Magic. Double Ghost Quarter. They have a Leonin Arbiter. This could get ugly. Displacer. Let's go ahead and bolt that. Don't want any other shenanigans going on. Red. It's probably you'll get path, but it's kind of whatever here. No path exile. Interesting. Alright. Wow, what kind of hand did you keep? Get a basic island here. Cast a Serum Visions. Ooh. Should be KO. GG's. So the deck that preys on other people's mana bases, ironically, is weak to Blood Moon. Go figure. This match definitely took way longer than it should have, but that's definitely game. Opponent seems to be very deliberate in how they play. Yep. Alright, sure. They had path that whole time, that's interesting. Guess if they find another Ether Vial, the game's not over. Alright, Swamp, sure. I think that's the least important of their colors, though. Just gonna pass here. Leave these other mountains in my hand in case our opponent finds or in case we find a Faithless Looting. Obviously we can't flash back looting here unless we find our other copy of a Braid, so both decks kind of playing their own hate cards currently. Turns out Blood Moon's bigger than Grafdigger's Cage. Like, I respect our opponent having graveyard hate for us, but it's like, you know I still can play my deck, right? Gut shot, sure. Has a relevant text box against something like Flicker Wisp if they're ever able to find it. Play a second Blood Moon out. They might have like Celestial Purge in their deck, so there's a reason to play a second copy. And we just beat down with Arclight Phoenixes. Alright, they found their white source. Sure. Guess you get to take Anger of the Gods here. Hold on to Lightning Axe in case they actually play something threatening like a Thought Knot Seer. Sure. Fortunately, they can't blink it, so not too terribly worried about it. they do have a path. We can either play a Bolt or another Arclight Phoenix would do it. But yeah, this ability requires... Okay. So you're saying you're dead? Because you have a lot of mountains here, but no answer to Arclight Phoenix. And Pteramander would have done a lot of good too. So 2-0 against Black-White Death and Taxes. Definitely an interesting deck. I've played against it a few times in some of the Modern Challenge events, so it's not a deck to sleep on, but it's definitely a deck that's vulnerable to Blood Moon. So yet another example of Arclight Phoenix decks beating up on some of the fair mid-range decks. This has been Dusk for Dust on Gaming with Episode 5, Match number 3.